When I was a kid, my family had a bit of farmland outside of the city where we lived. And when in season, we used to go there and pick a ton of fruit, ton of veggies, berries, herbs, and everything that was there. My dad didn't let anyone spray anything on that soil, and we would regularly find little worms in apples, play with insects. I remember me and my cousin catching grasshoppers and butterflies all the time. My parents would regularly bring home so much fruit and veggies that they would take what they needed and then give the rest to neighbors. It was definitely a community feel for sure. And then my parents would spend hours making natural juices, jams, marmalades, fermented foods, all kinds of things with veggies and fruits that would last us year round. It was a way of life. Little did I know that this way of life and the food that we were eating is what would be called organic these days, and that would lead me to the path to health and nutrition. And today, as I help women lose weight and manage their hormones, I now see how important those early lessons were for me. So if you are someone struggling with sudden weight gain or inability to lose weight, thinning hair, hot flashes, insomnia, memory loss, irregular periods, stay tuned, because what I'm about to share is why Mediterranean diet is considered the best for perimenopausal and menopausal women, for hormonal balance in general, and dare I say, for women in general. Yes, I may be biased because I'm from that area, but by the end of this video, you'll thoroughly understand why. In this video, I'll help you discover how to balance your hormones through this food so you don't have to deal with these symptoms. And at the end, I'm going to share how after 20 years of living in the United States and screwing up my hormones, my thyroid, my adrenals, feeling burnt out, how that early knowledge helped me get my body and my hormones back once again. And with that said, if we haven't met yet, hi, I'm Lex Fuco. I have been overweight, underweight, injured. I've been in health and fitness for over 20 years. I've trained as amateur bodybuilder, boxer, and kickboxer. I've screwed up my body and my hormones a few times, and then I've learned what to do to bring it back in balance. And now I share all that information with you on this channel. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, because my whole goal here is to help you feel like you're at a 10 daily. Because it is absolutely beautiful to see a woman who recognizes that she is beautiful, feels great in her body, and just overall feels wonderful. So hit that subscribe and let's get into the Mediterranean diet. First of all, why is it called Mediterranean diet? Well, it's a way of eating based on traditional foods and lifestyles of the countries surrounding and bordering Mediterranean Sea. This includes whole, minimally processed foods and brings a really balanced approach to nutrition. It's full of fruit, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, healthy fats, particularly from olive oil. Now, unlike many Western diets that rely heavily on processed foods, Mediterranean diet is rich in nutrients and it's known for its heart healthy benefits. One more thing that Mediterranean diet is great at that many people don't actually know is it includes a lot of foods with phytoestrogens, which means they help balance your hormones. It's the food that itself helps balance your hormones. If your estrogen is too high, it brings it back down. If it's too low, it brings it back to normal. So let's go through 9 key components of Mediterranean diet. 1, they have a ton of fruits and vegetables. It's like an abundance of fruits and veggies with every meal, which provides obviously vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, and like I earlier said, phytoestrogens. And if you want a list of particular foods that are full of phytoestrogens, you can watch my video on best foods to eat for perimenopausal and menopausal women. Second thing about Mediterranean diet is it includes a lot of whole grains. Things like whole wheat bread, buckwheat, brown rice, quinoa, barley. And here's something I want to clarify when it comes to gluten and whole grains, because if you follow me and if you listen to what I talk about, I often talk about going gluten-free, yet here I am talking about whole wheat bread and barley, which has gluten. I always recommend going gluten-free because after living in the United States and in Europe, I can almost guarantee you that gluten in the United States is not the same as it is in Europe. People who travel will often tell you the same thing. They eat the same foods in these different places and they feel completely different. Now, do your own research, draw your own conclusions, but I can tell you even from my own experience, when I eat gluten in the United States and outside of the United States, it is different. Okay, next thing I want to talk about when it comes to Mediterranean diet is healthy fats. Again, they primarily focus on olive oil, but they also include a lot of nuts and seeds and avocados. And even though they're fats, they actually help you lose weight and balance your hormones. Another thing that Mediterranean diet incorporates is a lot of legumes, chickpeas, lentils, beans. Obviously, they're a great source of fiber and protein, and they actually aid in hormonal balance. Another thing that people in Mediterranean eat a lot is fish and seafood. They eat fish regularly, particularly salmon, mackerel, trout, sardines, all the foods that are rich in omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3 fatty acids are important when it comes to brain function, hormonal balance, and pretty much your body overall. But we, women, as we age, we really have to pay attention to our brain, because if we don't get enough omega-3s and healthy vitamins and minerals, our brain can actually shrink during menopause. The next thing that Mediterranean diet includes is eggs and poultry. Now, this is in moderation, but it does aid in providing high quality protein. And again, if you're from the United States, I highly recommend going to a local farm or a local food market where you can get fresh eggs from the farmer. Another thing the Mediterranean diet includes is dairy. Now again, I have to put a disclaimer here. When I was growing up, we used to get dairy from the local farmers, which again is what I advise. Dairy in moderation, but things like cheese and yogurt in smaller quantities really aid to hormonal health because they help feed your gut bacteria. Another thing that they use in Mediterranean is a lot of herbs and spices. Herbs and spices have many healing properties, and not only that they add to that beautiful flavor of food, but it helps you heal your body and balance your hormones through yummy food. And lastly, note on red wine. In Mediterranean, they typically consume a glass of red wine with the biggest meal of the day, which is typically lunch or early dinner. Now, in a minute, I'm going to get into the Mediterranean lifestyle, which will help you understand that they drink wine to add more to the flavor and the moment of the dinner. They don't drink to de-stress, generally speaking. And that makes a huge difference in how your body digests foods as well. Now, one thing about Mediterranean lifestyle that I don't think they even realize they do is a form of gentle fasting. A normal 10 to 14 hour fasting window, because they typically have a light breakfast, a larger lunch, after which they rest, and then a light dinner around 6 or 7 p.m., which leaves them a 10 to 14 hour window of no eating. Now, we as women need to fast differently than men, even during gentle fasts. And if you want to know more about intermittent fasting, please make sure to check out my playlist on this channel where I explain to you how to gently fast as a woman. Now, before I go on talking about Mediterranean lifestyle, which we need to address, because if we just extract the nutrition, we're not really talking about the whole picture. See that little subscribe button? Go ahead and hit that, because you're here. It means you're getting some value out of this video. And my whole goal is to help you get proper information, draw your own conclusions on what's best for your body so that you feel like you're at a 10 daily. Oh, and there's a like button too. Feel free to press that as well. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about Mediterranean lifestyle real quick. There are 3 key components that people in the Mediterranean apply pretty much daily, mostly without even realizing they're doing that. 1, physical activity. 2, social engagement. And 3, stress management or much lower stress. And these 3 key components are what I guarantee that most people in the West are missing on a daily basis. However, they're super crucial when it comes to human health. Physical activity such as walking or gardening is actually very common in the Mediterranean. They walk everywhere. This is why you hear people visiting even Europe generally, and they say, I didn't even know I was eating all the time and I lost the weight, because you're walking everywhere. And again, if you think about how humans lived for millions of years, walking is primal for us. Things like gardening, they really do take care of their gardens, their olives, their pomegranates, their oranges, their lemons, their fruits and veggies. And when they do that, they are in the moment. So without knowing, they're practicing mindfulness, which leads me to the second one, which is social engagement. When you see people in the Mediterranean having lunch or dinner, they're generally together with family and or friends. And again, I mentioned they generally have a glass of wine. However, they're practicing mindfulness without realizing they're doing that. They're present, they're connected. They generally don't use phones at that time. It's all about being in that moment. It's all about connecting and being present with people that we're surrounded with. And that itself actually changes how your food is digested. But it also leads to number 3, which is lowering your stress. I get it. Some of us are extroverts, some of us are introverts, but social engagement is crucial for both. It's just in different quantities. And then we have to address their lower stress because they typically work to live and they take their time off seriously and they practice mindfulness, walking, and a nutritious diet. Their stress is generally lower. One more thing that they have, which I get it, we can't always just come up with it, is a community feel. If you go to any small towns in Italy or anywhere in Mediterranean, you will notice that they do have a community. And again, I get it. I lived in the United States my whole adult life. Sometimes I didn't even know my neighbors or see my neighbors. Sometimes I didn't even like my neighbors. It's not necessarily about the neighbors. You can create your own little community, your little circle of trust, where you have a family bond with people who are your friends. And like I said, one more thing they do is they take their time off seriously. And if you lived in the United States for a while, you go to Europe, this can be very frustrating, let me tell you. When you're expecting someone to reply to your message or email after hours, and in Europe, they're like, why would I ever do that? I'm not working. And I'll tell you, I had to relearn not to do anything. I had to relearn to actually allow myself to be bored. And that's a question for you. When is the last time you did nothing? And by nothing, I don't mean scrolling on the phone till 3 a.m. when you should be sleeping. I mean being present, maybe gardening, maybe sitting on a couch, reading a book, maybe allowing yourself a moment of silence. I'm not judging you here, been there, done that, but I'm saying it is a crucial part when it comes to de-stressing. And I know when I lived in a hectic environment, even the time off would be always in my mind racing on what needs to be done. And I still get the creepy voice trying to tell me that I'm not being productive. So I get you. But if you don't know how to take time off, it's kind of important. Now I want to talk about how actually Mediterranean diet and lifestyle help particularly perimenopausal and menopausal women. Because it's been shown, again, that it has foods that contain phytoestrogens from plants that act like mild estrogens and help balance it. So first is hormonal balance. Emphasizing on whole, unprocessed foods automatically helps you balance your hormones. Second thing, weight management. High fiber, high healthy fats that are in Mediterranean diet help you lose weight and reduce inflammation in your body. 3, it helps with mood and cognitive function. Mediterranean diet is full of nutrients such as omega-3, fiber, B vitamins, all of the ones that support brain health and can help alleviate mood swings or cognitive decline. 4, reduced inflammation. These foods are anti-inflammatory. These are the kinds of foods that were here on Earth before even us humans. They are known to our body, so they create an anti-inflammatory effect because when we eat processed foods, our body doesn't know what it is and it creates inflammation. When you eat fruits, veggies, omega-3 fatty acids, you help reduce inflammation in your body, which again is essential when it comes to women's hormones and women's health. 5, it helps with heart health. Menopause itself increases the risk of cardiovascular disease. Because Mediterranean diet puts a lot of emphasis on healthy fats and whole grains, it supports heart, it lowers your cholesterol, and it improves your blood pressure. 6, bone health. Mediterranean diet is rich in foods that have calcium and vitamin D, which obviously help bone support, and it's particularly important during menopause because as our estrogen starts dropping, our bones get affected. And besides these amazing things, Mediterranean diet has been shown to lower risk with depression, cognitive decline, stroke, even cancer, and hot flashes. Look, we as women deal a lot when it comes to perimenopause and menopause, especially these days, because our lifestyle is so different than it ever was for humans. We don't walk. Our stress level is higher than ever. We don't have a community support. We eat heavily processed foods rich in unhealthy fats and sugars and low in vitamins, minerals, and essential nutrients for our bodies. We have plastic everywhere. We wear it on our skin, we drink from it, it's everywhere. So it's affecting our health. This is why when it comes to perimenopause and menopause, we're supposed to feel a gentle shift of our body. Yet, if we don't pay attention to how we live and what we eat, our brain can shrink, our bones can become frail, we can start losing memory, we can start developing heart disease, and all of this can be avoided or drastically slowed down if we start changing things today. Now, I told you in the beginning of this video that I'll share with you how this helped me after I've gained weight in the United States when I felt like my life was falling apart. I gained weight a couple times in my life, and every time it was when my stress level was the highest. After gaining about 45 pounds, the second time, I said that's it. I was overeating processed foods, my hormones were out of whack, and I started going back to basics. I applied what I had known from the early age. I started making more food at home. Even if I wanted sweets, I would turn to local honey, dates, or a variety of fruits, and that way teach my body to get satisfied with the food that I'm eating that's real food rather than be a food or sugar addict. I not only lost weight, my hair started getting healthier and growing back. At one point, my hair wasn't even growing anymore. And I started to feel like myself again. And this is my hope for you. However you're feeling, my hope is that you get to a point where you feel like you're at a 10 daily. Having said that, I know that this all sounds overwhelming because you might have heard everything in this video and go, oh my God, I have to change everything now. But before you freak out, I've made it easier for you. I do have a video of top 10 foods that you can incorporate starting this week that will help you slowly balance your hormones while you're making other changes as well. These foods are easily accessible to anyone, and you might already have them in your pantry. And to watch that, you can just click the video here.